Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my boyfriend Johnny and we're just filming a little couples Q&A. I put one of the question things on my Instagram story for you guys to ask us questions because I feel like a lot of people just have questions. So we're filming a little Q&A for you guys. Okay, the first question is, how did you guys meet? So
yeah, I can start with that. So I was just scrolling through TikTok this summer and this beautiful girl kept popping up on my For You page, and I kept clicking on her profile, would click on her Instagram, and would see that she was in a relationship at the time. So I was like, well, that's a bummer. And she just kept popping up my For You page. I didn't follow her because obviously she was in a relationship, but around November time I saw that it didn't look like she was at that point. So I messaged her on Instagram and I basically just was like, hey, I think you're really gorgeous and it's clear that you love Jesus. Those are two things I'm kind of looking for. Would you like to get to know me? And it took a couple days to get a response, but eventually she responded and I got her phone number, and then from that point on we talked every day all day for about 6 weeks until we met.
The next question is favorite thing about each other. I have a lot of favorite things.
That's good.
Just one. I should pick just one.
Yeah, go one.
Other than like obviously like you're cute and like funny and stuff. I love that, like, I feel like Johnny is just very respectful and like family oriented, and I don't know, just little things like that. His parents definitely did a good job raising him. But
shout out John and Angel.
Family is just like super important to me, and like I have seen like my family dynamic growing up, and so I've always wanted to like marry into a family, like hopefully eventually a family that's like very similar to mine and like has the same values, like just like a Christian household, you know, like a very loving household. And so yeah, that's my favorite thing about Johnny. He's just very respectful and makes decisions like based on like not just what he would want, but like what's just best for like everyone around him.
My favorite thing about Cass, literally everything, but she is like by far the kindest person I've ever met in my entire life. Like her heart is like so pure, and like it's too pure for me. Like it's like oftentimes I'm like, why? Like she's way too nice. Like sometimes like she makes me a better person. Like if we're in public and like someone says something to me, like we had a situation where like someone said something about a mask, and like normally before I met her, like I would have like said something not great to that person, but I was like with Cass and I was like just didn't say anything, and it's like she just makes me a better person, and like that's what like I appreciate most about her.
Thanks. The next question is hardest part about long distance. I feel like we could kind of agree on this, but for me, my top love language is quality time. So just like not getting a lot of that quality time, and like the time that we do get together is either spent like on FaceTime or like texting, other than like when we can be in person, which hasn't been a whole lot. So I feel like that's the hardest part for me.
I would say the hardest part for me is that we just like at the moment are living two completely different lives. I'm working a full-time job living in Arizona. She's a full-time student, also doing her stuff, working or living in Ohio. So just living two completely different lives, and our only form of communication being over the phone, and being in different time zones. Our frame of communication is just some days really hard, and so some days we're at the end of the day and we're like, I barely talk to you at all, which sucks because obviously like she's my best friend, and if anything happens in the day I want to like tell her, but sometimes that frame of communication looks a little different, but I think we do a pretty good job making the most out of it.
The next question is favorite memory together.
I think we probably have like probably the same memory for our favorite. Obviously we've only been dating a few months now, so we don't have a ton of like in-person memories, but when she was in Phoenix a little bit ago, we went on one date where we kind of did a TikTok trend. It was like a rock paper scissors date, so like who picked the drink, who picked the main course, and who picked the dessert. And then we drove up on this really cool spot in Phoenix and got to look out in the entire city and watch the sunset, and just really have good conversation and talk about just a lot of stuff and what we saw in our future and stuff. So it was just really fun and casual, and we were wearing sweatpants, and like it was just a super fun time.
It was so pretty. I put it on my Instagram, so I'll put the post like right here so you guys can see like what day I'm talking about. But yeah, it was so pretty, and just like getting to spend time together was really nice. How do you keep God in the center of a relationship? We got this question a lot, I feel like, just because, you know, we're both Christians, and so other Christians are just wondering how to keep God in the center of a relationship, especially a long distance relationship. So for us at least, we are just always asking each other, like, how can we pray for you today? Like, is there anything you need prayed over for today, this week? Like, really anything. And so just like always praying for each other, but first and foremost, like praying that God would be like the number one thing in both of your lives, because if God is like first in both of your lives, then you'll be closer in the end.
Yeah, I think we both agreed, like even before we started dating, that like in order for this to work, like each other can't be our favorite or our most important thing in our life. Like our relationship with God has to be so much more important than our relationship. And so being long distance, obviously we can't really get involved necessarily in a church together. After we go to our individual church services on a Sunday, we always talk about it. Like, what did that pastor talk about? Like, I specifically like this part. Like, you should watch this part of the service that I went to today, and we'll send each other clips and stuff like that. And just encouraging each other throughout the week. Like, hey, like, how have you been doing on reading your Bible? Like, I've been slacking a little bit. Like, can you keep me accountable? Or I've been doing really well in this area. Like how have you been doing? Stuff like that. Just like checking in with each other, just because our in-person time hasn't been as long as it eventually will when we can get involved together, like as a couple in a church and in a small group.
Yeah, and I feel like keeping God in the center of our relationship will definitely look different when we're in person, but like for now there's only so much we can do, so we're just doing like what we can right now. A lot of people were asking like if we plan on getting married or like what that looks like for us, and honestly, like if you're dating someone and the end goal is not marriage, then like I don't really know what the point of that relationship would be, you know, because you're either going to break up with someone or marry them. So obviously like we're planning on getting married, because we're not planning on breaking up or anything.
No, yeah, we're not breaking up. But for me especially, like Cass's dating history looks a little bit different than mine, but I personally never had a girlfriend before Cass. And it was always something for me, whereas like if I was going to date someone, like that was going towards marriage. And I never had someone in my life that I felt anything could go really past a dating relationship, so I never really took it there. But with Cass, like early on, it was pretty clear that I definitely could see it going towards marriage, and that's the plan for sure.
Another question kind of like going along with that one that we got a lot was asking if I was planning on moving to Phoenix when I graduate. And as much as I do love Arizona and Phoenix, the answer is no for now. We are planning on moving though to the same state so that we won't be doing long distance, but it's not Arizona and it's not Ohio. So if you guys want to guess in the comments, you guys can guess if you want, but we won't be like posting about anything until it's like official that this is where we're moving, especially just like with jobs and stuff, and like I'm graduating, trying to get a job too, so we just want to see what our lives look like, but we definitely have a place in mind that we think we're moving to.
Yeah, so definitely long distance will be only a couple more months. We will be in the same place because we think it's important to be able to get to that next step in our relationship, being in the same place. We will share more about that when it comes.
And like my plan was never to stay in Ohio. I was actually going to go to college out of state, but then like some family things happened, and so I ended up staying in state. So like moving out of Ohio is not a shock for my family, my friends, no one. Like they all knew I was going to move out of Ohio once I graduated, so that's not anything new. And then Johnny lives in Arizona right now, like because he went to college there. Like his family doesn't live there, or like your parents, I guess, don't live there or anything like that. So it's not like a huge thing that we'd be like leaving those states, if that makes sense.
We thought about Arizona as an option just because it really is beautiful, but we thought it'd be cool to, in this next stage of our life, really like move someplace where we really just have each other and can really build our relationship and start both from the ground up, as far as building relationships with other people, friendships, a church, jobs, everything like that, in a new place that's new to both of us.
Yeah, so maybe like one day we'll end up back in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, but where we're planning on moving to next is not Arizona. The last question was just some tips for long distance and like keeping a long distance relationship.
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to do is really like to start the individual day. What really helps us is knowing kind of how our individual schedules are going to be. Again, I work a full-time job and I coach. She's a full-time student and has a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So letting each other know, hey, I have this from this time to this time. I can't have any communication with you. I won't be able to talk to you. I won't be on my phone. This time to this time, I'm doing that. letting each other know that, so that way we don't have to be sitting at home being like, why aren't they texting me back, why haven't like they opened my Snapchat or like whatever, and we don't have to like be worried about like what they're doing. We just be like, oh, I know they're in class from this time to this time, or stuff like that.
So you don't have to, we're not like, oh my gosh, is he mad at me, like why is he not answering me? Like I know he's busy, you know. But just like going off of that, I was just gonna say, I feel like if you are in a long distance relationship, it's important to know that like the other person isn't gonna be able to just like sit at home on their phone all the time. Like he has a full-time job, like I am in class, like I have classes to go to and like homework to do and things, so like you shouldn't expect to talk to someone like 24/7 either. And I just feel like sometimes like there can be unrealistic expectations and stuff, and like it wouldn't be fair for me to be like, why can't you talk to me when you're working? Does that make sense? Like you literally couldn't talk to me, you know. So just like knowing like whenever your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever relationship you're in, like if they're busy, like just knowing that you won't be able to talk to them.
But along with that, I would say something that's really important that we have done is made sure there's a time in every day where we've set aside where we can talk to each other. So for that, for us, it's always at nighttime. So kind of when she's done with her homework, when she's done with everything, we like FaceTime for sometimes depending on the day, it's as short as like 10-15 minutes. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 hours. But setting aside that time, being like, okay, I know at this time, around this time every day, we're gonna talk, we're gonna ask how each other's day's been,
like catch up
on stuff that we didn't really get to talk about just through the day. How are we doing? Is there anything in our relationship that we think needs to be talked about, or just funny story, this happened today, or like maybe I didn't have a good day, like can you pray for me tomorrow, or like just stuff, I have this going on tomorrow. Just be thinking about that for me. I would say my last tip for long distance is have sort of an end goal in mind. If you're not really thinking about something at the end of the day, be like, in the future, I could see us both coming to this point in our life. It may be hard to kind of keep going in that relationship because you don't know where it's going. And it could get discouraging knowing like, okay, yeah, I really care about this person, but they're 1,000 miles away, and when am I ever going to see them? You know, so like we've talked about, this is where we can see the relationship going. At this point in the calendar year, based off when she's graduating, when I'm done with my job, and kind of setting those dates like, okay, at this point we can end up being closer together and stuff like that, and ending the long distance kind of helps it easier because we know, okay, we only have at this point a couple months left of long distance and then never again. So
and another thing I was gonna say is like if you are in a long distance relationship where like you literally can't see, so like I feel like if you're an hour away from someone, you know, you can like, do I want to drive to go see them or not? But like us, we literally can't do that. So if you're in a relationship like that, make the most of the relationship, you know, like use the time that you're not together to like work on yourself, like whatever that looks like for you. If that looks like, you know, working out more, like eating better, like getting deeper into God's word, like reading more, whatever that looks like for you, like focus on yourself so that when you are together, or like you can be together, then you'll be like at your full potential and not just like giving your boyfriend or girlfriend like half of your potential, if that makes sense. Yeah,
just making sure that like obviously we're not planning on being long distance forever, but during this time, obviously like if we were together, we would be spending a lot of time together. So when we're apart, that time that we would have been spending together, again, spending it bettering yourself so that when we're together, we're at our best versions of ourselves and maximizing our potential as individuals, which means we can maximize our potential like as a couple.
That's all for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this Q&A and just hopefully you guys feel like you know a little bit more about us and like our relationship. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments and I can answer them, or we'll end up doing another video, who knows. But don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe.
See you guys next time.